Chapter 4469. Although Master Wu didn't speak well and always liked to call Suyu a stupid donkey, he was actually very soft-hearted. However, he was actually very soft-hearted and could not stand this kind of emotional scene. Hearing Mrs. Su's words, he also felt very sad. But he didn't want to lie to Lady Su. "Madam, I can only tell you the truth. Suyu returned to the dream this time. Firstly, if he wins and successfully kills the dream creator, everyone will be saved. Everyone who entered the dream will wake up, but Suyu won't be able to come back. Secondly, if Suyu fails, he will be killed by the dream creator and won't be able to come back." These words were like a bolt from the blue, causing Lady Su's face to turn pale. "You mean, no matter what the outcome is, my son can't come back, right?" Lady Su's voice trembled slightly. The feeling of wanting to cry but not being able to do so was the worst. "Yes." Master Wu was very sad and nodded with difficulty. Lady Su broke down instantly. Looking at her unconscious son on the bed, she felt as if something was stuck in her heart and she couldn't breathe. "Why did my son do this? Isn't it good to live well?" Lady Su burst into tears. When the bodyguards and chauffeur outside heard that Madame was in a bad mood, they immediately rushed in, thinking that Madame was threatened. However, the moment they stepped in, they were scolded by Lady Su. "Get out." These two words were filled with extreme anger. The bodyguards and chauffeur were so frightened that they quickly pushed her out, not daring to take another step in. Lady Su reached out and held her son's cold hand. She felt as if her heart was being sliced into pieces. In this world, no one cared more about Suyu than his mother. Lady Su wasn't in good health and she only had one son in her life. But now he was in such a state. "Madam, take care of yourself. I believe Suyu doesn't want to see you like this either," Master Wu comforted her. "He made such a cruel choice and didn't care about me, his father and his grandpa's feelings. Why should I care about him? How could you do this to me? I'm so sad." Lady Su was crying so hard that Master Wu couldn't help but cry as well. After crying for a long time, her tears were almost dry. Then Lady Su slowly got up and carefully covered Suyu with a small blanket. "Master Wu." "Madam, can you think of a way to save my son? As long as you can help me save you, I'm willing to do anything. Even if it costs me 10 or 20 years of my life. Really, even if I die now, as long as my son is fine." With that, Lady Su gritted her teeth and knelt down. However, before her knees touched the floor, Master Wu supported her. "Madam, what are you doing? Get up." "Master Wu, you're Abbot Xiangyan's junior brother. I know that you're all otherworldly experts with unique skills. Please save my son. I only have one son. I can't lose him. Madam, it's useless even if you beg me. Suyu is my disciple. Although we've only been master and disciple for a few days, we're very close. I want to save Suyu more, but this is his own choice. Besides, I can't break through such a powerful nightmare. Really, even if my senior sister and I work together, we won't be able to break through this situation. Why don't we wait and see if a miracle happens?" After hearing Master Wu's words, Lady Su's vision went dark and she fainted on the ground, in the dream. Suyu woke up in his private villa and felt a little flustered, as if something was bothering him. He took out his phone and called Qin Chu. "Qin Chu, come out for a moment. I want to discuss something with you alone," he said. Chapter 4470. When Qin Chu received Suyu's call, he had just arrived at South Hill Manor. Huamin was exhausted, so he went to his room to rest. The professor went to the study and turned on his computer to look for information. Qin Chu drove Huamin's white Audi R8 out. They met at a small bar near Suyu's house. It was the first time the two men met so formally, as if they were on a date. Suyu arrived before Qin Chu and sat in a dark corner waiting for him. Qin Chu was still wearing a black jacket, looking cold and aloof. "Over here." Suyu waved his hand, afraid that Qin Chu couldn't see him. Qin Chu walked over and sat across from Suyu without saying a word. "I'm sorry, you just got home and I had to make you come out. Suyu, we've known each other for a few years. I know what kind of person you are. Don't be like a woman. Get to the point." Mr. Qin was still a man of few words, but every word he said hit the point. Suyu didn't get angry at Qin Chu's teasing. Instead, he chuckled. "You're making it sound like you're my girlfriend. You know me so well." "Qin Chu, okay, let's stop messing around. I'm afraid you'll beat me up. Let's get down to business. I know everyone just got back. First, they're all exhausted. Second, they still need to get used to the things that happened in the incubus. Although it's a dream, many things aren't that different from reality. When I was in the real world, I couldn't contact anyone except for Pudding and Little Bean. So, I'm not sure if Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, Dr. Jiang, Wei Liao, Lingling, Gao Ran, and even your friends Rick and Cece are all in the dream. I'm pressed for time, so I can't confirm it. So, Qin Chu asked him calmly. Therefore, this is a very difficult problem. The two of us will distinguish them one by one. It would be fine if they were made up, but if they were hidden dream creators, then it would be difficult. Of course, I don't want to think that my good friend is one of those evil dream creators, but before I entered the dream, my master told me not to trust anyone easily. Then why do you believe me? Qin Chu continued to ask him. In fact, to be able to sit here and listen to Su Yu's words, one could tell how much trust Su Yu had in Qin Chu. Logically speaking, the relationship between Tang Chuan and Qin Chu was very subtle. They were not that close. On the other hand, he grew up with Tang Chuan and Wei Liao. If he was looking for help, he should be looking for them. Even if Tang Chuan was on vacation overseas with Qin Ning and the fictional twins. However, Wei Liao was still at home. However, Xi did not look for them. Instead, he contacted Qin Chu immediately. Qin Chu was more or less touched by this. However, he wasn't a person who was good at expressing himself, so he didn't tell Su Yu how relieved and touched he was. If I say it out loud, you might be jealous. I actually don't believe you. I believe in Mion. Mion is definitely real and Mion believes in you. Mion has been with you for so many years. She has been with you since she was a teenager, so it's impossible that she doesn't know you. It's like when you met Layla but you never trusted her. So, it's not because I believe in you but because I believe in Mion and Mion believes in you. That's why I believe in you. Su Yu's words were very roundabout, but Qin Chu immediately understood. He didn't say anything and just nodded. We don't have much time right now. In order to prevent the dream creators from making the first move, we have to find the dream creators first, Su Yu said. Do you have any suspects? Qin Chu picked up the wine glass in front of him, took a sip and asked with his head lowered. Chapter 4471. To be honest, no. That's why I'm very confused. I don't know who to talk to at this time. And's not very smart, Mion's pregnant and it's inconvenient. I'm not very familiar with the professor, so I can only look for you. No matter what the reason is, I have to thank you for trusting me, Su Yu. Sai, let's not talk about this now. Killing the dream creators and letting all of you out is the right way. Su Yu was a little embarrassed. After all, it was rare to hear gratitude from Qin Chu. Qin Chu did not leave out the details of Su Yu's words. That was to let all of you out. He wasn't talking about us or everyone but all of you. However, Qin Chu did not ask Su Yu directly. I have a suspect, Qin Chu said quietly. Huh? Really? Who is it? I'm afraid you don't know him. I believe I can handle it myself. No, dream creators are very powerful. I have to go with you. Su Yu became vigilant. Qin Chu shook his head. If you go, they'll be on guard. It'll be harder for us to do it then. Leave it to me. I'll tell you when I'm done. Can you do it yourself? Su Yu was still worried. I'll be fine. Why don't you take my rosary beads? Can take you anywhere you want to go. If you're in danger, you can use it to escape. Su Yu reached out to take off the rosary beads around his neck, but Qin Chu stopped him. No need to trouble yourself, really. My willpower is still very strong. As long as I can remember that I'm dreaming, they can't do anything to me. That's true. Be careful. Wait for my news. Qin Chu stood up, patted Su Yu's shoulder and left. Working with Qin Chu made one feel inexplicably at ease. It was as if nothing could stop him. After meeting up with Qin Chu, Su Yu returned to his private villa and made a blueprint. Then one by one he analyzed all the people he had seen in the dream. Who was the most suspicious? Master Wu said that even if a dream creator hid their identity in the dream, they would definitely not be strangers. Therefore, this person must be someone he knew. Su Yu was actually not good at solving cases and reasoning. He could only slowly analyze it based on his own logic. Qin Chu, on the other hand, drove his sports car and sped to a place. At this moment, it was already late in Sea City. There was a knock on the door. After waiting for a long time, it was Ling. Brother Qin Chu, you're back so soon. Did you save Sister Mion? When Xiaoling saw Qin Chu, she was excited and smiled innocently. Yeah, I'm back. Where's Granny? Oh. Granny went downstairs to buy groceries. He wanted to stretch her muscles. I'm cooking, let's eat together. These are my specialties. These dishes are only available in Yunnan. I bought them online. Haha, you must have never eaten them before. Ling opened the door and warmly welcomed Qin Chu in. Actually, at this point it was obvious. Since it was a dream, there was no Miaojiang witchcraft. There was no heart with you. It was just a dream. As a witchcraft master, Granny was the most suspicious, and this little girl was most likely a dream creator. Just like Messiah beside Linya. However, even if it was fictional, seeing how innocent and cute Ling was, no one could bear to do anything to her. At this moment, slow footsteps came from outside the door. A white-haired old lady with a hunched back pushed the door open and entered. Little Qin, you're back? Granny's expression was the same as usual. Chapter 4472. Qin Chu nodded and didn't say anything else. He had always been like this, so it wasn't strange. Granny bowed as she entered with some vegetables and meat in her hands. Just like usual, he couldn't tell that she was a dream creator. If Suyu hadn't entered the dream twice and brought him so much good news, Qin Chu probably wouldn't have thought of dream creators no matter how much he thought about it. Back then he brought Granny and Ling back because of Huamin's promise. He felt that they had saved Mion's life when they were escaping in Yunnan. Later on, Granny and Ling came to him and told him about the Miaojiang incident. At that time, Qin Chu was already convinced. It was also because he missed his wife so much that he wanted to give it a try. Later on, when he saw that Granny was quite capable, Qin Chu was extremely grateful to them. He wanted to settle the two of them down after rescuing Mion and coming back. However, after Suyu said that he was a dream creator, Qin Chu was enlightened. Even the incident in Yunnan was fake, so how could there be any Miaojiang sorcerers? Then was the sudden appearance of these two people, their interference, and even instigated Qin Chu to go to the North Pole a conspiracy? Did Qin Chu really not want to think so badly of them? However, this was not the real world. They could be fictional or they could be dream creators. The chances of a real person entering the dream were almost zero. After all, the dream creators had spent so much effort, it was impossible for them to let unrelated people enter the dream. Therefore, Qin Chu came here with a heavy heart. However, he didn't know if the grandmother and granddaughter could tell or if they were pretending not to know. They were quite enthusiastic about Qin Chu's arrival, especially the little girl. She happily wanted to cook and entertain Qin Chu. During the meal, the three of them sat at the table. Qin Chu didn't say anything as he looked at the food on the table. Brother Qin Chu, how's your sister Mion? Very good. Has the baby been born? Ling asked again. Not yet. Huh. No way, didn't you say that her due date has passed? Why hasn't she given birth yet? Xiao Ling had a pair of chopsticks in her mouth, looking innocent and naive. Maybe she was in a bad mood after being locked up for too long. Plus, she's not feeling well, so her due date has been delayed. Qin Chu could only calmly find a reason to explain to them. It's okay. Mion is such a lucky child. She and the child will be fine. Her mother-in-law smiled, showing her teeth. She looked kind. Qin Chu, on the other hand, began to plan in his heart when to make his move. The problem now was that he had confirmed that there was something wrong with them. They were dream creators or were created by dream creators. Only then could Qin Chu make his move. If their corpses didn't change after being killed by Qin Chu, it meant that they had entered the dream. But the possibility of that happening was very small. After killing Jingde, Qin Chu was also in a strange mood. Although she knew that Jingde was a bad guy, she still felt terrible when he killed someone. Qin Chu was different from Lu Yan and the others. Lu Yan was used to killing people and didn't feel anything. Qin Chu wasn't used to this rhythm yet. After hearing what Suyu said, he knew that Jingde was just like Layla, an illusion. Therefore it was the same as if he had never killed anyone. Brother Qin Chu, is there something on your mind? Ling asked curiously when she saw that Qin Chu hadn't smiled since he entered. While asking Qin Chu, she also picked up some wild vegetables for him. He was really caring. Ling, what plans do you and Granny have for the future? Qin Chu asked slowly. After Qin Chu asked this question, Ling and Granny looked at each other strangely. Chapter 4473. Brother Qin Chu, I plan to go to school in Hong Kong. Granny is staying here. I might need you and Sister Mion to take care of her in the future, but I know you guys are busy and don't have time to come over often. Sister Mion is going to give birth, so you can hire a nanny to take care of my grandma. She has some difficulties moving around, but I haven't thought about anything else. Ling was sharp-tongued and answered Qin Chu's question directly. It was the same as what she had said before without any flaws. Yes, that's why I'm here today. Ling, come with me to the company later and fill out the enrollment form. I hired a friend from Hong Kong to help you with your school matters. Wow, that's fast. Thank you, Brother Qin Chu. Xiaoling smiled very happily. Granny kept her head down and ate without saying anything. Granny, I experienced some unbelievable things in the North Pole. Qin Chu said. That's normal. That woman is a monster. Granny was probably talking about Linya. Granny, do you know Linya? Qin Chu suddenly asked. Granny, who was about to pick up some food, trembled her wrist slightly. Little Qin, you're asking a silly question. How would I know her? Granny denied it. However, Qin Chu continued to ask, then why did Linya tell me that she knows you? As soon as she finished speaking, her mother-in-law's expression immediately changed. She put down her chopsticks and glanced at Qin Chu. Little Qin, are you here today to denounce me? Granny, since you're so resourceful, you should know that Linya is dead. Before she died, she did say something to me. I don't understand, so I came to ask you. I really don't know Linya. How can I believe the words of a monster? Little Qin, you look like a smart person. Why are you so foolish to believe the words of a bad person and not me? Obviously, the old woman refused to admit that she knew Linya. When Ling saw this, she quickly explained for her grandma. Brother Qin Chu, you can't misunderstand my grandma. If my grandma didn't help you find her, you wouldn't know where Sister Mian is being held. Did someone say something to you? You don't look like such a muddle-headed person. No, Qin Chu said. Little Qin, I can see some things from your divination. Recently, there's a young man by your side who has a good relationship with you. You believe everything he says. But have you thought about what if he's lying? What if he wants you to deal with me? You have to know that if I die, no one will be able to help you anymore. Qin Chu to speak to her to the points to this granny was indeed not to be underestimated. Her words made Qin Chu suck in a breath of cold air. It was obvious that she was trying to frame Suyu. Little Qin, you have to know that those monsters are very powerful. They could even disguise as your wife, so it's normal for them to disguise as your friend. Anyway, don't believe anything that person says. He's the one who's going to hurt you. Linya is just a small fry. I did a divination this morning and knew that there would be rumors. Seems that it was true. If you don't believe me, just fight me. I'm just an old lady and I can't beat you. I can't fight back either. I'm innocent. With that, the old lady tilted her neck and made up her mind to checkmate Qin Chu. Ling also looked aggrieved. Brother Qin Chu, don't be bewitched by that bitch. Grandma and I have done so much for you, but you don't believe us? Qin Chu clenched his fists when he heard this. Chapter 44-74. Seeing that Qin Chu didn't say anything, the old lady used an even more ruthless move. While Qin Chu wasn't paying attention, she picked up the iron fork on the table. Then she prepared to stab her own neck. Fortunately, Qin Chu was very close to her and stopped her in time. Otherwise, blood might really splatter on the spot. Grandma, what are you doing? Ling was so scared that her face turned pale. She stood up with a whoosh and ran over, hugging the old lady tightly. I've lived for so long. I've endured everything, but I can't stand being wronged. It's obvious that little Qin doesn't believe me. Then I'll use my death to prove my innocence, right? When the old lady said this, she was full of righteousness and iron bones. She made it sound like Qin Chu was extremely unreasonable. Brother Qin Chu, what are you doing? Do you really want to force my grandma to death? Then I might as well die with her. With that, Ling went to force the iron fork again. However, Qin Chu dodged it. Xiaoling, don't make a fuss. I was wrong to suspect Granny just now. I was bewitched by a scoundrel. I thought it through just now. Granny has helped me so much. How could she be a person with evil intentions? I was confused for a moment. I apologize to you, Granny. Please don't be angry with me. This is a special time. Too many things have happened recently. My brain is really not working well. Seeing that Qin Chu's attitude had softened, Granny and Ling looked at each other meaningfully. Then Granny also eased up a lot. How could I blame you? Young people are young and impetuous, so it's inevitable that they would listen to rumors. I can understand all this. However, I'm not trying to scare you. Let me tell you, little Qin, the man beside you who spread rumors and encouraged you to suspect us. He's the one with evil intentions and wants to stir up trouble. If we don't get rid of him, you and your wife will be in endless danger in the future. Qin Chu knew that the old lady was talking about Suyu. Really? Franny? What should I do? Qin Chu pretended to be serious. It's best to kill them directly. Of course, I know it's difficult for you. After all, you're a kind child. But if you don't kill them, there will be endless trouble. Your wife is about to give birth, so you have to think more about your family. All right, I'll keep your words in mind. I'll think about it. Yes. The old lady nodded. I'm almost done eating. I'll go back first. All right, Ling, come with me. We can talk about the school. That person is still waiting at my company. Okay, brother Qin Chu, I'll go with you. Grandma, you sleep at home for a while. I'll be back soon. Xiao Ling then changed into a new set of clothes and happily followed Qin Chu. When Qin Chu and Xiao Ling went downstairs, the old lady was still standing behind the curtains upstairs, secretly watching them. Just now she was almost exposed by Qin Chu. Fortunately, she and Xiao Ling put on a pitiful act. She managed to fool Qin Chu with her lies. Both Xiao Ling and Granny could tell that Qin Chu's only flaw was that he wasn't ruthless enough. He had to be merciful in everything he did. That was why they used this to stir up trouble. However, it was indeed useful. Not only did they dispel Qin Chu's suspicions about them, but they also targeted Suyu. They were killing two birds with one stone. GK headquarters, brother Qin Chu, where is that person? In the guest room. I'll take you there. Qin Chu quietly led Xiao Ling to a small guest room on the top floor. Qin Chu opened the door for Xiao Ling like a gentleman and let her in. As soon as the girl stepped in, she suddenly felt a chill on her waist. Then she turned around and looked at Qin Chu in surprise. Before she could say anything, the sharp pain on her waist made her frown even more. Chapter 4475. Qin Chu locked the door and tightened his grip on the dagger. This time it was so strong that it almost pierced through the girl's entire waist. Then Qin Chu pulled out his knife. Blood splattered all over his body. With a clang, Qin Chu threw the dagger to the ground, making a crisp sound. Then he took out a white handkerchief from his pocket. He slowly wiped his hands and said, "You acted well just now. If it were anyone else, they might have been fooled by you. Since you could tell, why didn't you attack Granny?" Xiao Ling covered the fatal wound on her waist and looked at Qin Chu with a pale face in disbelief. After all, she didn't expect the plot to turn around so quickly. Qin Chu looked up, stared into her eyes and said word by word, "Why would I do that to my mother-in-law? After all, she's just a puppet and you are the dream creator." What are you talking about? I don't understand. Ling forced a smile. You're about to die, why are you still pretending? Qin Chu looked at the girl mercilessly. The moment she was caught off guard, Qin Chu had already put all his eggs in one basket. And his intuition had always been sharp. When he first went to look for the grandmother and granddaughter, he had indeed planned to attack Granny. After all, killing the dream creator first was the right way to go. This was because once the dream creator died, the puppet would automatically collapse and cracks would appear in the dream world. Therefore, at the beginning, Qin Chu thought that as long as he killed the old lady, Ling would naturally break through. However, this idea changed after he went there. This was because Qin Chu realized that Ling was a person who disguised herself very well. She always looked harmless and innocent. She always called him Big Brother Qin Chu so sweetly. Those who didn't know better would think that she was a cute girl. However, Qin Chu noticed that every time the old lady spoke to Qin Chu, she would intentionally or unintentionally make eye contact with Ling when she was feeling unsure. Furthermore, Qin Chu had observed that the old lady was clearly afraid of Xiao Ling during their interaction. It seemed like a subordinate asking for his superior's opinion. That gaze. Qin Chu had caught such a gaze at least 3 times when he was at their place just now. Therefore, Qin Chu later changed his plan and did not intend to do anything to the old woman. This way he could beat them at their own game and dispel their suspicions about Qin Chu. As expected, Xiao Ling did not guard against Qin Chu. That was why he was able to succeed so easily. The dagger was the one Qin Chu always carried with him. The timing of the attack was also when Xiao Ling entered the door when she was the least vigilant. As for the two of them trying to sow discord and make Qin Chu suspect Suyu, that doesn't exist. Suyu took the risk to enter the dream a second time just to save everyone. How could Qin Chu have the heart to doubt such an unyielding man? Seeing that Qin Chu had already guessed her identity, Xiao Ling decided not to pretend anymore. Instead she sneered, "You live up to your reputation as a genius. You're indeed not an ordinary person. But do you really think you can kill me with a dagger? Don't forget that in the dream we call the shots. We're the dream creators. So what if you're a dream creator? Lin Yu was still killed by us. Qin Chu's casual words angered Xiaoling. That's because she's stupid. She was set up by you guys. I won't show mercy. Just wait and see. As Xiaoling spoke, she formed a seal with both hands. Who knew what she was going to conjure? However, there was no reaction after she formed the seal. It's not working, is it? Qin Chu sneered and asked her. Qin Chu, what did you do to me? Xiaoling's eyes were slightly frightened. Chapter 4476. Actually, I didn't do much. I just added some ingredients to the dagger. How is it? Does it taste good? After Ling's hand seals failed, she realized that she was really afraid. Qin Chu, don't kill me. I'll send you out. Seeing that the situation was not good for her, Ling immediately negotiated with Qin Chu. The wound she was covering was still bleeding. Qin Chu knew that when Xiaoling said go out, she must mean leave the dream. You can send me out. What about my wife? My strength is limited. I can only send you and your wife out. What about the others? Everyone else can only leave it to fate. Qin Chu, every man for himself. If you agree to me, we'll all be happy. If you don't, you might not be able to leave this place for the rest of your lives and die in your dreams. Ling tried to coax and threaten him. Unfortunately, Qin Chu didn't fall for it. Mion and I will go out and leave everyone to die. This is not my style. All of us have the same goal. Find all the dream creators and kill them. Linya is the first and you are the second. With that, Qin Chu took out a silenced pistol from behind him. Qin Chu, you will regret this. Bang bang bang. 3 very weak muffled sounds. 3 bloody holes appeared in Ling's chest. Then she died instantly. After Ling died, her body turned into a pool of red blood. Suyu had said that she was a dream creator. As for the old woman, there was no need to care about her. As long as the dream creator died, the puppet would automatically collapse. It was just like how after Linya died, Qin Chu returned to find that Layla, who he had imprisoned in the villa in the suburbs, had turned into nothingness. This was the best way to deal with a dream creator. Then Qin Chu took a photo and sent it to Suyu on WeChat. Suyu, you killed a dream creator? Qin Chu, yes. Suyu, is it that old lady? Qin Chu, no, it's her granddaughter Xiaoling. Suyu, damn. That's really shocking. I didn't expect the big boss to be a little girl. Qin Chu, that's why your master said that dream creators are good at disguising themselves. Suyu, that's right, they are indeed very cunning. We have to be more careful. Now that 2 of the 4 dream creators are dead, it's only a matter of time before you leave the dream world. Qin Chu, why do you say we're leaving? What about you? As expected, Qin Chu grasped the key point. Suyu was stunned for a moment before replying with a voice message, are you stupid? Of course I'm going back with you. Qin Chu, Suyu, no matter what it is, we'll solve it together. Don't hide it from us. Suyu, alright, don't be so sentimental. It's as if we're lovers. I can't stand this. Qin Chu, although 2 dream creators are dead now, our situation is getting more and more difficult in the future. Because Linya is the enemy on the surface, Xiaoling and Granny are also intruders, so it's easy to guess. Next, there are 2 more dream creators. They might be hiding among us, so it's even more difficult to find them. My master said that our time is limited. If we can't find them, we're finished. Also, those 2 dream creators must know about Linya and Xiaoling's deaths. When the time comes, they might hide even deeper and stab us in the back. So, we have to be very careful from now on. Qin Chu, do you have any good ideas? Suyu, of course we have to gather everyone and live together. Your South Hill Manor is big, so I suggest we move to your house. When we spend time together, the dream creators will definitely reveal their flaws. Chapter 4477. Qin Chu, your idea is good, but it's also very dangerous. If we're under the same roof as the dream creator, our lives will be in danger at all times. Suyu, that's why we have to observe closely. Once he makes a move, his identity will be exposed. Qin Chu, okay, I agree. I'll discuss it with Mion later. Suyu, just protect Mion well. It's best if you don't leave her side. As for the rest, leave it to me. After Qin Chu and Suyu contacted each other, The two men decided to start living together at the last moment. Only when they were under the same roof would they know who was human and who was ghost. Inside Su Yu's private mansion. When En came back from grocery shopping, he saw a shocking scene. His goddess Lu Yen was wearing a white cotton nightgown and had long black hair. She was sitting at the dining table and eating with a face so beautiful that it could topple cities. There was only a plate of egg fried rice on the dining table. Su Yu sat across from Lu Yen and the two of them seemed to be talking about something. Goddess Lu Yen, you're awake. Ah. That's great, and was so excited that he almost threw away the vegetables in his hand. You're back? Lu Yen smiled. When his goddess smiled, and felt like all the flowers in the world had bloomed. Hey. You've just recovered from a serious illness. How can you only eat egg fried rice? It's not nutritious. And slapped her and quickly took away the egg fried rice in front of Lu Yen. But your boss only knows how to make this. Lu Yen looked at Su Yu sadly. Miss Lu, it's good enough to have egg fried rice, okay? Even your sister hasn't eaten my egg fried rice. Su Yu rolled his eyes at Lu Yen, telling her to be content. No, you can't eat this. It's not nutritious. And shook his head. Master, and this is a dream. You can't even taste shit. Why are you still competing with me? What's the point? Su Yu couldn't help but laugh. Su Yu, aren't you disgusting? Lu Yen glared at Su Yu. No matter if it's a dream or reality, my goddess Lu Yen must eat well. Give me a few minutes and I'll cook you a bowl of nutritious noodles. Then En took away Lu Yan's fried rice with eggs and rushed into the kitchen with the groceries he had bought. However, judging from the way Su Yu talked to Lu Yen, she knew that Su Yu had told Lu Yen everything. While Lu Yen was in a coma, she missed a lot of things. Now Lin Yu was dead and so was the second dream creator. According to Master Wu, there were only 2 dream creators left. They had the advantage in numbers, so this wasn't a difficult task. See, where's my sister? Is she okay? Lu Yen asked. Yeah, Mion's in a good state of mind and the baby's fine. It's just that in the dream time was messed up, so the baby didn't come out after the due date. But in the real world it's not due date yet. Lu Yen nodded and didn't say anything. Then Lu Yan's watch rang. She got up and walked to the balcony to answer the call. She didn't know if it was Qin Chu the professor or Qiao Fei. Su Yu on the other hand went into the kitchen and watched and busy himself. Master, and don't waste your time on her. She can't be with you. Not to mention that she has a fiancé. Even if she doesn't, she's not a woman you can control. Boss, did you contact Miss Han in the real world? Su Yu was stunned. No. Then did you contact Miss Han in your dream? No, Su Yu said. Then Miss Han's confession to you must have happened in the dream, right? Miss Han didn't enter the dream, so the dream is fake. That's right. Su Yu nodded. But whether it's in the dream or the real world, it doesn't change the fact that Miss Han likes you. And cleverly avoided Qin Chu's question and threw him a difficult question. Chapter 4478. Ahem. And bluntly mentioned that Han Yueao liked Su Yu, which made Su Yu feel a little awkward even in a dream. So boss, what are your plans after you go back? And didn't know that Su Yu couldn't go back, so he was still thinking about his future. I don't have any plans, Su Yu said perfunctorily. Boss, you can't be like this. You're already in your 30s. How can you not get married and have children? You'll be letting Lord Su and the others down. Lord En, your noodles are almost cooked. Su Yu's reminder interrupted En. He quickly went to make the vegetable noodles he made for his goddess. Then En walked out with the freshly made noodles. Su Yu knew that En liked Lu Yen and knew that it was impossible for them to be together. But since En was willing to stay with Lu Yen, it meant that he enjoyed every second he spent with her. How could Su Yu the boss not agree? So Su Yu took the opportunity to go upstairs and leave the restaurant on the first floor to En and Lu Yen. Perhaps because Lu Yen had just woken up, her face wasn't very red and was a little pale. But it still couldn't hide her beauty. The nightgown she was wearing was found by Su Yu at home. Of course he knew that this was a dream. As long as you thought there was something here, it would definitely be there. So when Zheng Rou stayed here for a short time, he thought there was still something left, so he took it out for Lu Yen to wear. Goddess Lu Yen, the noodles are ready. You can call me Lu Yen. I'm not a goddess, more like a murderous demon. Lu Yen smiled slightly. Every time En saw Lu Yen smile, he felt sweet in his heart. Then he placed a big bowl of noodles on the table. He also made 2 plates of pickled vegetables. It was a perfect combination. You made this? Lu Yan looked at the noodles in surprise. Although it was hot noodles, it looked, smelled and looked delicious. I just added some more vegetables and fried an egg on top. But this is a dream. My boss said that no matter how delicious the food is, you won't be able to taste it. So you'll have to bear with it for now. Don't listen to Suyu's nonsense. He can't tell because there's something wrong with his taste buds. Everything I eat tastes good. Then Lu Yan lowered her head and began to eat the noodles. His appearance was extremely valiant, and there was not the slightest bit of arrogance in him. She would never pose for photos like an internet celebrity, fearing that others would think that she looked bad from a certain angle. Lu Yan was a woman who lived on the edge of a knife. Although she was a woman, she had lived like a man all these years. This was what An admired the most about Lu Yan. Goddess Yan, you've always been my #1 idol. Huh? Who's your second idol? Lu Yan asked as she ate. Of course it's my boss. Oh right, there's also President Qin and Huimin. The three of them are tied for second in my heart. What do you admire about them? Lu Yan's questions were always sharp. My boss. I've been with him for many years. I know all the good things about him and I agree with him as a person. President Qin and President Hua have amazing IQ and EQ. They're so fast that they're miles ahead of us. Huh. You're all godlike existences that mortals like us can't catch up to. Don't think so badly of yourself. In this world, no two leaves are the same. So no matter what, you'll always be unique. When Lu Yan spoke properly, she was really eloquent. Every word was like chicken soup for the soul, which made An very excited. Goddess Lu Yan, are you satisfied with your current life? Do you feel proud that you're the top goddess in the mercenary world? And took the opportunity to interview the goddess in his heart. Chapter 4479. After hearing Anne's words, Lu Yan thought about it seriously for a while. Then, with her chopsticks in her mouth, she looked up at the ceiling at a 45-degree angle and thought about it seriously. Then she said in an extremely serious tone, to tell you the truth, I wanted to live my life as the woman in Big Brother's heart. But unexpectedly, I became the big brother in women's hearts. And Usually when Lu Yan wasn't in the mood to kill, she was always in a funny state. And suddenly remembered that Lu Yan had come to see City for a stroll. Then she followed him around and caused a lot of trouble. Lu Yan had also taken care of a lot of hooligans. She used a funny phrase that was popular on the internet to describe herself. It was not an exaggeration and it was quite appropriate. What are you laughing at? I'm serious. Lu Yan looked at An. You're right. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't you think that the woman in Big Brother's heart is just a clingy puppet? Big Brother in women's hearts is the peerless king? And began to flatter. What's the use of being a king? When he's being hunted down, he'll piss his pants. It's useless. On the surface, he'll never be truly glorious. In fact, like my sister, he'll live a down-to-earth life, work in the hospital and treat patients. These are the truly valuable people. As for me, I'm at most a killing machine. Lu Yan smiled faintly. I'm sorry, goddess. I poked your sore spot. And blamed himself. Don't say those useless things to me. I've been as big-hearted as a pumpkin all these years. Why would I care what you say? I was just lamenting. Don't think too much. Okay, eat it while it's hot. There's more if it's not enough. And felt that to be able to sit opposite Lu Yan and watch his goddess eat at a close distance. It could really be described with 4 words. A feast for the eyes. If Goddess Lu Yan stayed here forever, how much would it be? Of course, he could only think about it himself. He thought that Lu Yan would stay here for the night and rest since she had just woken up. Unexpectedly in the evening, Qiao Fei came. Qiao Fei arrived. He drove a black Maybach S680 and only brought 2 men with him. Compared to before, he was much more low-key. Although Qiao Fei had never returned to the family and had not officially taken over the position of family head. But over the years he had nurtured many forces and trusted subordinates in his family. He was still wearing a navy blue Russian-style military uniform. The buttons in the front were all made of platinum. It was extremely noble and luxurious. She always had short silver hair which was always so dazzling in the darkness. When Qiao Fei came, Suyu didn't receive any advance notice. Lu Yan didn't seem to know either. So when she saw Qiao Fei standing in the living room, Lu Yan froze. She was wearing a white nightgown and holding a cup with a cartoon printed on it. Just as he was about to get some water from the water dispenser, Unexpectedly, before she reached the water dispenser, she saw Qiao Fei standing at the door. In that instant, their eyes met. He seemed to have a lot to say. Lu Yan was about to speak when Qiao Fei strode over. He held Lu Yan tightly in his arms. "Yan, it's so good to see you again." Qiao Fei's personality was a little similar to Qin Chu's. He didn't like to express himself. He wasn't good at sweet-talking, but he would prove it with his actions. Therefore, it was obvious that he had been holding these words in his heart for a long time. Who knew how long he had been looking for Lu Yan? He had almost searched the entire earth. "How did you know I was here?" Lu Yan reached out and hugged Qiao Fei's waist. Chapter 4480. Brother-in-law told me. Brother-in-law really has a big mouth. Lu Yan hugged Qiao Fei with a smile, feeling warm in her heart. At this moment, and walked downstairs and said, "Goddess Lu Yan, if you're hungry tonight, tell me. I'll cook internet-famous turkey noodles for you. Don't you like spicy food? The noodles are so spicy that you'll start doubting your life." Before An could finish his sentence, he stopped abruptly. Because he saw his goddess being hugged in someone's arms. This situation was really awkward. Lu Yan quickly pushed Qiao Fei away, feeling a little embarrassed. "Let me introduce you, this is Qiao Fei," Lu Yan said. "Yeah, I know. He's the fiancé of the goddess," and scratched his head with a smile. "Thank you for taking care of Yan." Qiao Fei nodded slightly to express his gratitude. "You're welcome. Dr. He is so close to us. Goddess Lu Yan is Dr. He's sister and my idol. I have to take good care of her." "Where's Su Yu?" Lu Yan asked him. "My boss went out. He's been acting mysterious recently. I don't know where he went. He didn't say. Oh, when he comes back, tell him that I'm going to my sister's place." "Okay. Let's go." Lu Yan glanced at Qiao Fei. As soon as she finished speaking, Qiao Fei picked her up horizontally. Then he carried her out of the door. Actually, Lu Yan knew that Qiao Fei didn't mean to show off their love in front of An. He must have known that Lu Yan had just woken up and hadn't recovered yet, so he did this. However, when An saw this, he did feel quite uncomfortable. Even though he knew that he was nothing. He didn't even have the right to have a crush on her, he still felt bad. It was an indescribable feeling. Just like that, Lu Yan was carried away by Qiao Fei, and was especially sad when he was packing up alone. Especially when he looked at the bed Lu Yan had slept on, it reminded him of the past. Therefore, when Su Yu returned, he saw An drinking beer and watching TV alone. Actually, he wasn't in the mood to watch what was on TV. He was just venting his frustrations. "Oh, Master An, why are you drinking alone without me?" Su Yu teased. "Let's drink together, boss. Aren't you going to call Lu Yan? I heard she won't get drunk even after 1,000 cups." "She's gone." And was even more disappointed when he heard Lu Yan's name. "No wonder you look like you've lost your soul." "All right, then I'll accompany you for a few drinks." Su Yu sat down beside him. "Mr. An, you and Lu Yan aren't the same kind of people. You can't make her stay. It's normal for her to leave. Even Mion can't make her stay, let alone us." Su Yu wanted to comfort Shaoan and make him feel better. "I know, boss, I know. My heart feels a little empty. Then I'll drink with you. Tomorrow morning we'll pack up and move to South Hill Manor." "Ah? We're moving to South Hill Manor?" And was stunned. "Yeah, we'll move there. It'll be easier for us to observe who the hidden dream creator is. This is serious business." Su Yu felt like he was in a dream. He kept reminding himself of his purpose for coming back. Finding all the dream creators and killing them was his only goal this time. "Yeah, I think it's fine." And pursed his lips and snickered. "Of course you say it's fine. You'll be able to see Lu Yan again if you stay at South Hill Manor, right?" Su Yu immediately saw through the kid's thoughts. At South Hill Manor, Lu Yan's arrival caused the atmosphere in the family to reach its peak. "Sis, brother-in-law, I'm back." Lu Yan looked serious as soon as she entered. Chapter 4481. Sis, brother-in-law. "Uncle Lu," Qiao Fei greeted him politely. Qiao Fei had originally looked for Ian and the others to convince them to work together to find Lu Yan. Later, he received a call from Qin Chu, who wanted to go to the North Pole to help. However, he was chased by some random people and didn't manage to go. He was forced to land in Kenya and had been dealing with some gangsters and drug dealers in Africa. Later, when everyone returned, Qin Chu contacted Xiao Fei and told him that Lu Yan had woken up. Xiao Fei rushed back without stopping and finally arrived at Sea City in the evening. On the phone, Qin Chu briefly told Xiao Fei about the dream. When they were in the car, Lu Yan told him the details. Therefore, Xiao Fei now knew about the dream creators and the incubus. Although the twins were fictional, they did exist. However, they were still on vacation with Tang Chuan and Qin Ning in the United States and had not returned yet. Therefore, there were only the 5 of them at South Hill Manor. Su Yu and Qin Chu informed Wei Liao, Jiang Xiaowei, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, Rick and Cici respectively. They planned to gather at South Hill Manor tomorrow morning and spend a few days together before they could find the real dream creator. Su Yu and Qin Chu agreed that the dream creator must be among them. After all, there were no newcomers. Ling and Granny were dead. Linya, Messiah, Layla, and the monsters created by Linya had all disappeared. At the dining table at South Hill Manor, the professor placed everyone's plates on the table and then served the food that he had prepared. There was whole wheat toast, German white sausages, roasted pork knuckles, and vegetable salad. They drank soda water. It seemed like the top professors in the medical field paid attention to health. It's not easy to eat food made by Dad. Even in my dream, I have to eat more to make up for it. Lu Yan couldn't help but feel excited. You really don't want to lose out. You even took advantage of me in your dream. The professor smiled dotingly. Actually, it's good to be in the dream. If it weren't for this dream, my sister and I wouldn't have had so much time to spend with you. So, from another perspective, I'm quite grateful to the dream creator for giving the 3 of us a good time to spend together. There was nothing wrong with Lu Yan's words, but when one thought about it carefully, it did make one's heart ache. Daughter and father, this was such a close relationship. However, sometimes Lu Yan wouldn't see her father even once in a few years because of her special status. Therefore, every time this happened, Hua Mian would feel sorry for his sister. She picked up a kiwi and put it on Lu Yan's plate. Yan, you've just recovered from a serious illness. Take good care of yourself and eat more nutritious food. This is It is. Look at my memory, no wonder they say that pregnant women become dumb for 3 years. I'm really... Hua Mian slapped her forehead and laughed at herself. Hey honey. I'll be silly with you. Mr. Qin put his arm around Hua Mian's shoulder and comforted him gently. Every time you two show off your love. You're so strong. If I were single, I would be tortured to death by you. Fortunately, I'm not. Lu Yan moved closer to Xiao Fei, who was sitting beside her with a smile on her face. Uncle Lu, sis, brother-in-law. After we escape from the dream, I want to marry Yan. Xiao Fei's proposal came out of nowhere. Everyone was taken aback by his words. Chapter 4482. Everyone was stunned by Xiao Fei's sudden appearance. Ahem. Damn it. You sure know how to pick a good time to propose. You're in a precarious situation. Lu Yan kicked Xiao Fei under the table. I know. That's why I'm proposing. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't have another chance. Hearing Xiao Fei's words, Professor Lu chuckled. Xiao Fei, have you thought it through? Do you really want to marry our she-devil? Hey. What kind of father would call his daughter a she-devil? Watch your words. Lu Yan reminded him with a glare. I've thought about it. I've thought about it for many years. Yan is the only woman I want to be my wife, Xiao Fei said firmly. Yan, what do you think? The professor looked at his daughter and asked. I'm at a disadvantage. He's not as good-looking as I am, not as rich as I am. He doesn't have as many subordinates as I do. He doesn't have as many kills as I do. His status in the underworld is lower than mine. Anyway, I'm better than him in every aspect. If he marries me, I'll thank him. Yes, I've always thought it would be my honor to marry you. So, Miss Lu Yan, will you marry me? Xiao Fei tilted his head and looked at Lu Yan with a smile. Lu Yan's heart skipped a beat when she saw the tenderness in his eyes. Yan, Xiao Fei proposed to you so seriously. Hurry up and give him an answer. Hua Min was anxious. Don't worry, sis. Have to stay calm. Besides, he proposed to me so casually. How can I be so careless when he proposes to me? Lu Yan had always been domineering and had bullied Xiao Fei for so many years. So no one was surprised that she would say something like this. Qin Chu put his arm around Hua Min's shoulder and looked at Xiao Fei sympathetically. He thought to himself that his wife was gentle and open-minded. If Hua Mian was like Lu Yan, things would be troublesome. What else do you want? Xiao Fei asked with a smile. Don't all proposals get down on one knee? Lu Yan raised her chin. Xiao Fei immediately got up and knelt before Lu Yan on one knee. Yan, don't go overboard. If Fei runs away because of you, you won't be able to get married. The professor tried to scare his daughter. Lu Yan said smugly, let him go, Dad. Xiao Fei can only marry me in this lifetime. Otherwise, I'll hunt him down all over the world. You are indeed a female hooligan. You are so overbearing even to your own man. Huamin laughed. Sis, you're not allowed to slander me. Okay. I won't say bad things about you. After all, you're already bad enough. You'll never be able to clear your name. Huamin tilted his head and leaned against Qin Chu, watching the drama between the two little rivals. Can you guys stop arguing and take care of me? Xiao Fei interrupted. Huamin and Qin Chu both laughed. The professor also shook his head as he watched the group of children fooling around. What's the point of kneeling? I don't have any flowers. Lu Yan rolled her eyes at Xiao Fei and continued to make things difficult for him. Flowers? Then, as if by magic, a rose suddenly appeared in Xiao Fei's hand. Lu Yan was pleasantly surprised. Before anyone could speak, Xiao Fei said shyly, I didn't have enough time to buy one, so I took your flowers. Blushing, Lu Yan took the rose. Then she coughed and raised her voice. Then, where's my ring? Chapter 4483. Everyone could tell that Lu Yan was purposely making things difficult for him. But the problem was that Xiao Fei was willing to let her make things difficult for him. She thought that he wouldn't have time to prepare a ring. To her surprise, Xiao Fei took out a small red velvet box from his pocket. Then he slowly opened it in front of everyone. What else could it be other than a pigeon egg? The size of the diamond was big enough to buy a luxurious mansion in this city. Under the light it was very dazzling. Fuck, where did you get this? Did you buy it from a roadside stall? Lu Yan's jaw dropped. I never buy jewelry from roadside stalls. Lu Yan asked casually and didn't expect Xiao Fei's answer to be so serious. Did you borrow this from my sister and brother-in-law? Lu Yan continued to interrogate him. No, I asked a famous craftsman to make this ring when I was in Italy. When I was looking for you, I carried it with me, thinking that if I found you one day I would propose to you. Isn't this the opportunity? To be honest, everyone knew what kind of person Xiao Fei was. This guy was never glib and didn't know how to sweet-talk girls. It was precisely because of this that every word he said carried weight. Lu Yan was really touched. Looking at the ring, she felt like something was about to fall out of her eyes. I have the flowers, the ring, and you. Yan, can you accept my proposal now? I'll think about it. Lu Yan looked up, afraid that her tears would fall and embarrass herself in front of her family. So she pretended to look up at the ceiling and consider it. Ouch, my knees hurt from kneeling. No, I'm getting up. Then Xiao Fei pretended to get up. But Lu Yan scolded him. Don't get up. What? You didn't say yes to me. What I've done is useless. Then why am I kneeling here? You said you were thinking about it, but you were just thinking about how to reject me. Forget it, forget it. After this meal I'll go back to Russia. Damn it. I accept your proposal, okay? Lu Yan couldn't sit still anymore after Xiao Fei's words. In a hurry she agreed to his proposal. Ah, you really agreed? Yes, really. Everyone heard it. Uncle Lu, sis, brother-in-law. You're all important witnesses. You have to testify for me. I'm just afraid that Lu Yan will go back on her word after she leaves. That won't happen. We'll all be your witnesses. Huamin said with a smile. Excited, Xiao Fei stood up and put on the pigeon egg for Lu Yan. This meal was also very meaningful. After dinner, the professor went to the study room. No one knew what he was studying, but he didn't tell anyone. No one dared to ask. Xiao Fei and Lu Yan went for a walk in the back garden. On the other hand, Qin Chu and Huamin sat in the attic on the top floor, looking at the starry sky and chatting. Honey, why do I feel like I haven't watched the stars with you in such a long time? Yeah. Even though Suyu said that we haven't been apart for a single day in the real world, we've been apart for almost 2 months in the dream. I almost couldn't take it anymore. Don't talk nonsense. How can you not take it? We've been through so much together, but we still got through it, right? Yeah. Nothing can stop us. Qin Chu kissed Huamin's head gently, giving his wife the greatest tenderness. Honey, yeah? Tang Chuan and the others are coming back tomorrow. Will the kids come back? Huamin suddenly asked. Honey, did you forget that the kids are fictional? Yeah. Even if they're fictional, I still want to see them. I miss my kids so much. Huamin curled up in Chinchu's arms and whined pitifully. Chapter 4484. It's good to meet them. I didn't intend to stop them from coming back. Really? Huamin was happy to hear that the two children were back. However, when she turned around, she immediately realized. She leaned into Chinchu's arms and said faintly, Honey, you asked them to come back. Did you include them as dream creators? Yes. Chinchu never lied. Even though he knew that Huamin might be sad to hear this answer, he still admitted it. Sure enough, Huamin's eyes dimmed slightly when he heard this. Honey, I know your analysis is right. It will be extremely difficult to find the remaining two dream creators in our group. I think that those two dream creators have been in the dream for so long and no one has discovered any clues. They must have hidden themselves very well and are very similar to their real selves. So, if we want to find them, we have to start with fictional people. Suyu has seen our daughters in the real world, so Pudding and Little Bean are definitely not real. They might be fictional or they might be dream creators. Yes. Chinchu nodded. Don't worry, honey. They're not the real Pudding and Little Bean anyway. Once I find out that they're dream creators, I'll get rid of them. Huamin steeled his heart and felt that he couldn't be soft-hearted anymore. Everyone's lives were hanging by a thread. Although they had already killed two of them, there wasn't much time left for the rest of the group. Have you talked to Suyu alone since you came back? No, why? Are you jealous? Huamin smiled. She rubbed her cheek against the tip of Mr. Chin's nose. No, I just think that Suyu is a little strange. Why? Do you suspect him? Huamin was stunned. He didn't expect Chinchu to say that Suyu was a little strange. I'm not suspecting him. I just feel that Suyu is hiding something from us. Of course, it's definitely not something that's disadvantageous to us. I have a feeling that Suyu's return this time won't be that simple. Of course, I'm not doubting his character and he won't hurt us. It's another reason. Chinchu's feeling was very accurate, but he still wasn't confident, so he didn't dare to guess. I understand. Huamin was very smart. After hearing Chinchu's words, he immediately understood what Chinchu meant. Then when everyone's here tomorrow, I'll talk to Suyu. Alright, have a good talk with him. Tell him that if there are any difficulties, everyone should face them together. Don't do anything stupid. Okay, I will. The night passed quietly in the dream. The next morning, Suyu led everyone to the entrance of South Hill Manor on time. Other than Tang Chuan, Qin Ning and the twins, everyone else was here. Zhu Lingling was very enthusiastic when she saw Huamin. She ran over and put her arms around Huamin's neck. Be careful, Mom. Auntie Huamin is pregnant. Gao Buyan reminded her in a low voice. Ah, you little brat. You're worried about us, aren't you? You're worried about your future brother-in-law in her belly. Gao Buyan, Uncle Chinchu, when are Pudding and Little Bean coming back? Our Buyan misses Little Bean so much. Gao Ran patted Buyan's head and said to Chinchu with a smile. Chapter 4485. Tonight's flight. Not many people knew about Little Bean and Pudding, so he didn't tell them one by one in case they felt uncomfortable. It was as if in the real world Rick's wife Cece hadn't given birth yet. However, in the dream she had already given birth to a daughter and named her Little Jean. Suyu couldn't bear to say any of this. Other than the dream and the dream creator, Suyu and Chinchu didn't mention anything else. From today onwards we'll be living together. If there are any difficulties, we'll face them together and try to go back as soon as possible. We're still missing one person, Jiang Xiaowei reminded everyone after looking around. Zhu Lingling didn't seem to react. Everyone knew that Tang Chuan Qin Ning would bring Chinchu's parents and Chinchu's daughters back tonight. Jixin, Bella and Auntie Yang, Jiang Xiaowei said. As expected of a psychology doctor, she was very meticulous. The people Jiang Xiaowei mentioned were indeed not present. It's like this. Bella hasn't woken up yet. Jixin is worried, so he continued to accompany her in the hospital. As for my mom, she hasn't been feeling well recently, so my husband hired an auntie to take care of her. He plans to bring her over when the children come back later. Huamin explained. That's good too. Jiang Xiaowei nodded. Actually, Jixin, Bella, and Yang Merong didn't come. There was only one reason. So you didn't have time to interact with the three of them in the real world. Therefore, he wasn't sure if the three of them had entered a dream or were still in the real world. This meant that the three of them were very suspicious. They could be dream creators or they could be fictional. It was more likely that they had entered a dream themselves. There were too many uncertainties, so Qin Chu planned to isolate the three of them and observe them carefully. Since everyone is here, let's start preparing the food. We'll have a good lunch, Huamin said and instructed everyone to get to work. Qin Chu and Rick were talking in the study. Cece was watching TV on the sofa in the living room with the baby in her arms. Buyan and Wei Yunchu were running back and forth in the house. The others were busy washing vegetables and cooking, and the professor went out to get some fresh air. Lu Yen and Xiao Fei were playing close combat on the hillside of the castle. Perhaps no other couple was like them, bored and had nothing to play with. To actually engage in something like close combat, it was really a different kind of mood. You've interacted with those two perverts, Ian and Levis. Do you think they're dream creators? Lu Yen asked Xiao Fei. Xiao Fei shook his head. Brother-in-law said that the dream creator will be hiding around us. Ian and Reeves are probably made up, so it's unlikely that we'll lure them into the dream. After all, they're far away. Lu Yen nodded and wrapped a red bandage around her hand. I haven't practiced boxing in a long time. My body is especially tight. Help me loosen up my muscles. Yes, Your Majesty. On the lawn in front of the door, Huamin was watering the lawn with a watering can. Suyu hurried over and snatched the watering can. Oh my God. What time is it? You're already like this. Why are you still watering me? Give it to me, go rest. It's not that serious. I'm just pregnant. I'm not terminally ill. Huamin was amused. That won't do. Be good and rest. Let me do what you want. Suyu, how did you come back this time? Huamin asked from behind Suyu. My master sent me in. Didn't I tell you that I have an expert as my master? Then, you came back so easily? Was there no price? Huamin asked him tentatively. Suyu's body stiffened slightly when he heard that. Chapter 4486. Strange. You asked that. My master is so powerful. He's not someone to be trifled with. Do you think my master is one of those swindlers? Who have I, Suyu, ever admired in my life? If my master wasn't capable, would I believe him? And would I be willing to kowtow to him? So, Huamin looked into Suyu's eyes, trying to find some flaws. That's why I came back so smoothly. To my master, these are all small matters. Since they're small matters and your master is so powerful, why didn't he come into the dream and help us find the dream creator? Why did he make us look for him ourselves? Huamin's logical thinking was always very strong, so he asked a very sharp question. Suyu stopped watering and placed the kettle on the ground. Then he smiled and replied, I've asked my master the same question, but my master said that the dream creator didn't pull him into the dream. If he wins and barges in, it will take some time. If the dream creator attacks you guys, it will be too late. That's why I came back to tell everyone the truth about the incubus. Other than that, is there anything else you're hiding from us? I have an extra amulet and prayer beads than others. Does that count? Suyu smiled cheekily. You know that's not what I'm talking about. I really don't have anything else. Swear, don't lie to me. Huamin had never been a strong person, but for Suyu to tell the truth, he even used such a vulgar and old-fashioned method like swearing. I swear I'm not lying to you. If I'm lying to you, Before Suyu could finish, Huamin interrupted him. Of course, she didn't really want Suyu to swear, so she didn't want him to swear something inauspicious. Hey, stop it. I believe you, I say, Dr. Hua, don't you know what kind of person I am? Are you that suspicious of me? Suyu smiled as he approached Huamin. In fact, every time he could look at her seriously, Suyu would feel something called happiness flowing in his heart. Huamin was not used to Suyu looking at her so closely. He also felt a little embarrassed. I know you too well. That's why I'm afraid that you're hiding something from us on purpose. Then you'll be silly and not say anything. You'll bear it all by yourself. We're a team and we don't want to be heroes. We just want everyone to get out safely. Do you understand? I know. Dr. Hua, Ever since you got pregnant, you've become more indecisive. You still dare to complain about me? Hwamin picked up a leaf and threw it at Suyu's head. Then she couldn't help but sigh. Actually, it's pretty good in the dream. It's probably still winter in the real world. How can I see so many flowers and plants? Only in the dream can I have everything I want. What? You still don't want to go out? Why would I? I can't wait to go out. I don't want to stay here for another second. Yes, you definitely will. Chin-Chu and I will come up with a plan tonight. We'll see how to find the remaining two, and take them down in one fell swoop. Okay, I'll be more assured if you two handle this. Hwamin nodded and rubbed her belly out of habit. I really hope I can see the little guy soon. After he's born, he'll definitely be more powerful than Neza. After all, he's been through so much with his mother. Suyu was half joking. Then when he comes out, you'll be his godfather? Hwamin suddenly asked. Chapter 4487. No. I don't want to be a godfather. Hwamin rolled her eyes at Suyu. What? Do you despise my son? Of course not. I don't dare to despise him. I'm just afraid that the twins will be jealous. They're so close to me, but they didn't even acknowledge me as their godfather. Chin Guogua isn't even born yet, but he already acknowledges me as his godfather. I'm afraid that the twins will cause a scene. Suyu shuddered at the thought of the twins being jealous. Suyu's love for the twins was no less than Chin-Chu's. He had done enough for the twins over the years. Anyone would be touched even if they had a heart of stone. After hearing Suyu's explanation, Hwamin smiled slightly. That's easy. Let the three of them acknowledge you as their godfather. That's even worse. I'm so young and haven't even gotten married. If I'm called daddy first, will I still be able to find a wife in the future? You don't want me to be a bachelor for the rest of my life, do you? After saying that, Suyu couldn't help but laugh. Hwamin didn't laugh. She looked at Suyu with a serious expression and then approached him. She reached out her hand and plucked the leaf from his head. Her movements were very gentle. Then she said in a very low voice, "How could I want you to be a bachelor for the rest of your life? Suyu, do you believe me? In this world, no one wants you to be happy more than I do. Really, no one else." These words made Hwamin's eyes instantly turn misty. Hwamin dared to say that she wanted Suyu to be happy more than Lady Su, Mr. Lord Su, and the others. If Suyu could find his own happiness, she would be the happiest person in the world. No one knew how much she owed Suyu. She definitely wouldn't be able to repay him in this lifetime. If she didn't sacrifice her life, she would never be able to repay him. Even if she sacrificed her life, she still wouldn't be able to repay him. This was also why when Suyu was kidnapped and Hwamin was about to give birth, she stepped forward to save Suyu. Because to her she would rather die with her child than let Suyu die. Because if Suyu died, she would never be able to repay all the favors she owed him in this lifetime. The Buddhist scriptures said that people's lives, the debt of gratitude in this life, could be repaid in the next life. However, Hwamion was an impatient person. She felt that they were lying when they said that they would give birth in the near future. Who knew if there would be an afterlife? Therefore he had to return it in this life. Hey, look at you, I was just joking. Why did you take it so seriously? I'm really not used to you being so serious. Don't worry. I'm handsome, have a good figure, and have an endless amount of money. In Sea City I can call the shots. It won't be difficult for me to find a wife. I won't stay single, I'm not a monk. Pa, don't cry. Once you cry I'll feel guilty. If others see this, they'll think that I'm bullying you. In order to make Hwamin happier, Suyu pretended to think about the future. In fact, he knew in his heart that from the moment he entered the dream for the second time, there was no future to speak of. However, he would never let Hwamin know about this. As for when Hwamin found out in the future, he might not be here anymore. At that time, it would be enough as long as he didn't see her heartbroken with his own eyes. Did they call him great? Savior? No, he was never great, nor was he a savior. Master Wu was right. Instead of saying that he came back to save everyone, he came back to save these friends. It would be more accurate to say that it was for Hwamin. Suyu only had one woman in his life that he wanted to protect. How could he let anything happen to her? Okay, when you get married I'll definitely give you a big gift. Hwamin smiled through her tears. Chapter 4488. Really? How big is the gift? You can have it as big as you want. Haha, can I have GK Corporation? Sure, I'll give it to you. You're so generous. Forget it. I don't dare to accept it. I'm afraid Chinchu will kill me. My husband isn't that unreasonable. I'll give you whatever you want, even if it's my life. Humin said. Look, here you go again. Didn't we agree on a joke? I'm not going to chat with you anymore. People like you can really kill a conversation. I'm hungry, let's go eat. Suyu then picked up the kettle and turned to leave. Humin stood where he was and didn't move. Chinchu was right. Suyu was indeed hiding something from them. Although he refused to admit it, his eyes couldn't lie. Suyu naturally tried his best to hide his panic and emotions. However, Humin knew Suyu too well so he could still see the clues. If Suyu didn't say anything, there was no way to find out. Humin planned to tell Chinchu about the situation before going to bed at night and make plans. In the dream at the first hospital. As usual, Jishin went to the cafeteria to get food and returned to the ward with it. Then he sat by Bella's bed and ate while looking at her. He hadn't been to South Hill Manor since his sister came back. His brother-in-law called several times but he didn't say anything. Humin briefly told him about the dream on the phone. However, with Jishin's brain it wasn't that fast. He still couldn't believe that everything he was experiencing was just a dream. Jishin looked at the rice and grilled eggplant in the lunchbox. He wasn't in the mood to eat. His happy family was all because of Bella's accident. His mother fell ill and his father went missing. The series of blows already made him somewhat unable to cope with it. Before he went to work at the company and came to take care of Bella after work. Later, when Qin Chu saw how listless he was, he asked Qin Ning to help out at the company. When Qin Ning wasn't around, there was still Assistant Yang and some of the higher-ups. Therefore, Jing Jixin placed all his heart on his wife. Bella was a bit older than Jixin and was a mature woman. She was shrewd, bold, and capable. She was the backbone of GK. He was also a trusted aide of Qin Chu and Humin. In fact, both Jixin and Humin knew what was going on. Bella was wrong to marry Jixin. After all, whether it was in terms of appearance, figure, ability, or personality, Bella was clearly superior. Everyone in the company thought that Jixin was chosen because he was Qin Chu's brother-in-law. Humin's younger brother. Huimian knew Bella wasn't that kind of person despite the nepotism. She had chosen Jixin because they had spent a lot of time together in the company. A strong-willed woman naturally couldn't find a strong-willed husband. The couple's personalities had to complement each other. It was good to use softness to overcome hardness. Otherwise they wouldn't get along. Therefore, although Jixin's talent was average, he was an honest and reliable person. He would do his best to complete whatever he was told. In short, he wasn't that outstanding, but he was still average. He was just an ordinary person with ordinary looks and ordinary abilities. The reason why he was able to live in a mansion, drive a luxury car, and marry such a good wife was indeed because of his sister. Jixin was well aware of this. After they got married in a low-key manner, Jixin doted on Bella a lot. He basically listened to her and cared for her. Thinking about the sweet scenes between the two of them in the past, Jixin felt a little sad, and tears almost came out again. Jixin, a familiar voice came from the hospital bed. Jixin was so scared that he trembled, thinking that he was hallucinating. Chapter 4489. He took a closer look and saw that it was indeed Bella on the hospital bed. Honey, you're awake? Bella's sudden awakening made Jixin so excited that he couldn't speak clearly. I'm thirsty. Bella's eyes were a little unfocused and her voice was very muffled. Fortunately, Jixin heard her clearly. He quickly got up and poured a glass of water for Bella. Here, honey, drink with a straw. Jixin carefully held the glass and fed Bella the water. After drinking the water, Jixin rushed out like a gust of wind and shouted, "Doctor, nurse, come and take a look, my wife is awake, she's awake." Jixin had been here for a long time and everyone knew him. Upon hearing that Bella was awake, the doctors and nurses on duty all came to this ward. In an instant the ward was filled with people. "Dr. Kong, how's my wife?" After a long examination, the doctor shone a flashlight into Bella's pupils, looking very professional. "It's a miracle. Your wife is basically fine. I suggest that she stay in the hospital for a few more days for observation, and then we'll decide what to do next." We'll listen to you. Thank you, Dr. Kong. Jishin was as happy as a child, almost dancing with joy. After the doctors and nurses left the ward, Jishin took out his phone and was about to make a call. What are you doing? I'm calling mom and sis to tell them that I'm safe. They must be overjoyed. You have no idea how worried everyone was about you when you were unconscious. Don't be in a hurry to call. Come here. Bella waved her hand and asked Jishin to sit on her bed. Okay. What can I do for you, honey? Just tell me. Even if you want to eat Tang Seng's meat, I'll get it for you. Jishin held Bella's hand and kissed it. But strangely, Bella's hand was very cold. He quickly used his own hand to warm her hand. Then he breathed out, Jishin, did anything happen while I was unconscious? Yes, a lot of things happened. I don't know where to start. Anyway, there were a lot of things. My sister got into trouble and my brother-in-law was also worried. Fortunately, they all came back safely. Alright, my sister also said that what we are experiencing now is a dream and not the real world. She also said that she would tell me in detail when she has time. I don't really understand. Oh, I see. Bella nodded and looked down. No one knew what she was thinking. What's wrong? It's nothing. I'm a little tired. Don't call mom and sis for now. Just keep them company. How could Jishin refuse Bella's request? He immediately bent down in front of the bed. Sure. As long as you're fine, I'll do anything. Bella raised the corner of her mouth and smiled, but she didn't say anything. In the evening, South Hill Manor welcomed the last batch of guests. Tang Chuan and Qin Ning's return with the twins made everyone very happy. However, no one noticed that Qin Chu and Huamin had strange looks in their eyes when they looked at the child. Daddy, Mommy. We're back, Little Bean said with a smile. Handsome Su, did you miss us? Pudding glanced at Su Yu and asked. If it was in the past, everyone would definitely treat the child well. They were afraid that the child would melt in their mouth and be afraid that the child would fall out of their hands. But now, Su Yu, Qin Chu and Huamin all thought of an important question. Lingya was dead, Ling was dead, but the fictional twins were still alive. When the dream creator died, the things she created would collapse. Messiah, Layla and Granny all collapsed one after another. The twins were still alive, which meant that the dream creator who created them was not dead. Or was the dream creator hiding among the two children? This terrifying thought made the three of them shudder. Chapter 4490. Of course I missed you guys. Su Yu remained calm. No one could tell what was going on. Pudding, did you have a good trip? She didn't know when Wei Yunchu had walked over to Pudding. Huamin immediately pulled Pudding away from him. After all, the twins might be a ticking time bomb in the dream. Wei Yunchu and Gao Buin might be in the dream themselves. Since everyone's here, let's eat. I've prepared hot pot for everyone. Ning, don't you like the spicy hot pot from Sichuan? Huamin looked at Qin Ning with a smile. Qin Ning leaned on Huamin's shoulder like a spoiled child. Thank you, sis-in-law. Okay. Let's eat. Mommy, I heard that Auntie and Grandpa are here too. Where are they? Little Bean asked Huamin eagerly. I'm here. Everyone looked over and saw Lu Yen and Xiao Fei, who had just returned from a stroll. Pudding and Little Bean immediately ran up to them. Auntie, we missed you so much. Auntie misses you guys too. Come, let me take a look. Oh my god, our Little Bean has gained weight. Her face is so round. Where's Pudding? He seems to have grown a lot taller. It hasn't been long since we last met, but you two have changed a lot. Hee, the two of us eat and drink well. It's not strange for us to grow fat and tall. Auntie, you're still so beautiful, Wooly. Auntie is the most beautiful woman in the world. I've never seen such a beautiful woman. Auntie, you should go to a beauty contest. Little Bean always liked to flatter and kept complimenting Lu Yen. Of course, Lu Yen knew something was up with the twins. But in this situation, no one wanted to expose them. They wanted to continue playing along with them and see if they could expose any flaws. Ah, you little brat. You're such a sweet talker. Pudding, I heard you made a lot of money in the stock market. How about it? Do you have enough money? Do you want me to sponsor you? Lu Yen reached out and patted Pudding's head. It's okay. I have enough money to play with. Auntie, I heard you accepted Uncle Qiao's proposal? As soon as Pudding said this, everyone turned to look at her. Anne's expression froze. Ah, you're quite well informed. How did you find out so quickly? Yeah. Your wedding is a big deal. Little Bean and I must be your flower girl. Okay, my little flower girls. Ha, I'm afraid you two are the most expensive flower girls in the world. Lu Yen beamed. Xiao Fei smiled as he watched Lu Yen talk to the twins. Pudding Little Bean, that's enough. Stop clinging to Auntie. Go upstairs and check on Grandpa, Huamin reminded them. Okay mommy, we'll go now. The two children jogged all the way to the study upstairs. Let's get ready to eat. The restaurant can't fit so many people. Suyu and I will be in the back garden. Prepare 2 tables, one for the men and one for the women. Chin-Chu said. Big brother, you're so considerate. Ha, I've been craving for hot pot these days in the States. Nothing tastes good over there. Qin Ning held onto Chin-Chu's arm and acted like a spoiled child. Qin Ning and Tang Chuan were the only 2 people who didn't know it was a dream. When they came back, Huamin and Chin-Chu didn't have time to say anything. Lord Su, did you miss me? Tang Chuan imitated a girl in a perverted voice and reached out his hand to touch Su Yu's chest. This caused everyone to burst into laughter. Chapter 4491. Su Yu pushed him away. Pervert, stay away from me. Ah, don't be so cruel to me. You don't know how much I miss you in old Wei Liao, thank you. I don't need you to think about me. I'll be thankful if you don't cause trouble for us. Tang Chuan, what are you talking about? When did I cause trouble for you two? When we were young, I was always the first to rush up and protect you two. Idiot, have you forgotten? Wei Liao, idiot, we didn't forget. You rushed up because you were the first person they wanted to hit. If you didn't rush up, you would definitely be at a disadvantage. Don't make it sound like you've sacrificed a lot for us. Tang Chuan, old Wei, your words are so disappointing. Do you remember that time when we went to steal fruits from an orchard in the suburbs and the fruit farmer's big wolf dog rushed out? You were so scared that your legs cramped and I had to carry you on my back? Wei Liao, you have the cheek to mention this to me? Damn it, why don't you think about why my legs cramped? It's because you couldn't reach the fruit when you were picking it, so you rode on my neck. Your bear-like body pressed down on me until I couldn't breathe and then I sprained my ankle. Ah. How much dirt do you two have? Jiang Xiaowei laughed so hard that her stomach hurt when she heard her husband's embarrassing childhood story for the first time. As a participant, Su Yu didn't say a word and just watched from the side. Actually, Su Yu wasn't just observing if there were any discrepancies in their memories. After all, dream creators could share their memories. Su Yu was observing the micro-expressions of Tang Chuan and Wei Liao when they were talking about these things. All these years, the 3 of them had grown up together and knew their habits too well. Therefore, micro-expressions couldn't lie. Su Yu observed for a long time, but neither of them had any flaws. Therefore Su Yu was very pleased. Could it be that both of them could be cleared of suspicion? If that was the case, it would be great. Otherwise, if the dream creator appeared between Wei Liao and Tang Chuan, with Su Yu's relationship with his 2 buddies after so many years, it might really be difficult for him to make a move. Thinking of this, Su Yu secretly sighed in relief. Lord Su, come here. Be the judge. When I was young, didn't I protect the 2 of you many times? Tang Chuan dragged Su Yu into the battle. Su Yu raised his head and touched his neck. He sighed exaggeratedly. Hey, let's not talk about our childhood. After all, it's all in the past. But now, Mr. Tang, you're prioritizing women over friends. Ever since you got married to Qin Ning, we've barely seen you. Tell me, how many times have you been to the US in the past year? Wei Liao, yes, tell me about it. Tang Chuan, not many times, huh? Wei Liao, shameless, how dare you say it's not many times? Fuck, that passport of yours has more seals than Tang Seng's. They're all from these, how dare you not have them? Tang Chuan, then why are you stopping her from fulfilling her duties? Su Yu, is that considered fulfilling your duties? You're accompanying your daughter-in-law to see your father-in-law. Look at how useless you are. You're a typical henpecked husband now. You're no longer manly. Now you're like an obedient husky following Qin Ning obediently. Wei Liao, no, I should say that he's a teddy bear now, sticking to Qin Ning. Tang Chuan rolled his eyes at the 2 of them. Are you done yet? You're addicted to teasing me, right? Is it fun? As they were chatting, Qin Chu suddenly dragged Su Yu out. What's going on? Su Yu, I have to go to the hospital. I feel like something has happened there. Qin Chu's expression was serious. Chapter 4492. What happened? Seeing the rare anxiety and seriousness on Chin-Chu's face, Suyu knew that something was wrong. I've been arranging for people to lurk in the hospital, but now I've suddenly lost contact. When did this happen? An hour ago. Then call Jishin. Isn't he in the hospital? I can't contact Jishin on his phone either. That's so strange. What about Mion's mother? Young? Suyu looked at Chin-Chu. I can't contact her either, so I have to go and take a look myself. I'll go with you. No need, you stay and take care of everyone. I'm afraid it's a diversion. What if I leave and something happens here? There are many people here, I don't know who the dream creator is. Then you can't do it alone. Last time you were able to kill Xiaoling directly because you saw through her and she wasn't prepared. But this time it's obvious that they're prepared. The problem is that we don't know which one of them is the dream creator. If you go and the dream creator suddenly attacks you, you'll definitely die. Suyu's analysis was right. The problem now was that they didn't know who the dream creator was, so that was the biggest problem. The hospital had suddenly lost contact with everyone, and they weren't sure if it was the dream creator's doing. In short, everything was unknown. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. What if nothing happened? Wouldn't you have come all the way here for nothing? Chin-Chu smiled. It's fine if it's a wasted trip. I can't let anything happen to anyone in our group, so I have to follow you. Suyu had made up his mind to follow Chin-Chu. Seeing that Suyu had made up his mind, Chin-Chu didn't want to argue and nodded. What are you two talking about? You're being so mysterious. The hot pot is ready, come. Jiang Xiaowei stood at the door and shouted at the two men. Xiaowei, we're going out to buy something. You guys eat first. Without changing his expression, Chin-Chu found a suitable excuse. Jiang Xiaowei looked at Chin-Chu and Suyu before nodding. All right then. You guys go ahead. We'll eat first and wait for you guys while we eat. Just like that, Chin-Chu and Suyu went out together. You're me. Suyu asked Chin-Chu. Because there was a row of luxury cars in front of South Hill Manor. Chin-Chu's Bentley, Huamin's Audi R8, Suyu's Lamborghini, Wei Liao's Range Rover, Qiao Fei's Maybach S680, and Gao Rant's Jaguar. Those who knew and understood that these people were ferocious magnates, brothers and friends. Those who didn't know better might have thought that this was a meet-and-greet party organized by a luxury car club. He was right. The two of them couldn't drive two cars, right? How troublesome. Therefore he looked at the row of luxury cars and felt troubled. He asked Chin-Chu. Chin-Chu was silent for 3 seconds. Then he said something that made Suyu almost vomit blood. This became the only time and the last time the two of them had a funny conversation. Chin-Chu said, how about rock, paper, scissors? Suyu was speechless. You don't agree? Chin-Chu looked at Suyu seriously. Suyu was in disbelief. No, I'll interrupt you for a second. Whose car to drive? What does this have to do with rock, paper, scissors? I'm really confused. Is your mind jumping too fast or am I too stupid? Mr. Chin's words confused Suyu to the point where he started to doubt his life. At this moment, if Huamin was present, he would definitely be rolling on the ground laughing. In this world, perhaps only two strange men could have such a strange conversation. Chapter 4493. Chin-Chu's face darkened when he heard this. He continued in a serious tone, what I mean is, let's play rock, paper, scissors. If you win, I'll be your driver and drive a Bentley. If you lose, you'll be my driver and drive your Lamborghini. Understand? Upon hearing this, Suyu finally understood. I understand. No need to go through so much trouble. I'll be your driver. I'll drive my Lamborghini. Suyu didn't care. It didn't matter who was the driver. They were all as good as the god of driving. However, Mr. Chin didn't give up. No, we have to play rock, paper, scissors. I'll count it as your win, okay? Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Oh. Hey, I say, why are you so stubborn? I'll count it as your win and be your driver. No. Fine. Come on, rock, paper, scissors. Suyu was helpless. He couldn't persuade Chin-Chu, so he had no choice but to hide his fist behind his back. Thus, the two men started playing rock, paper, scissors in front of the row of luxury cars in front of the gate. 1 round to determine the winner. The first time they used scissors at the same time. The second time they used rocks at the same time. The third time Suyu used scissors and Chin-Chu used rocks. You win. Suyu said. Mr. Chin only nodded. So I'll be the driver, Suyu said. Fuck, I said I'd be the driver. How nice. Why did you have to play rock, paper, scissors? This is different. How is it different? Suyu wasn't convinced. It's different. You were obviously going easy on me just now. Now I'm winning fair and square, Chin-chu said. Suyu. Inside the castle, Huamin was trimming the daisies in the room when he saw the two people standing in front of the luxury car in front of the door. Due to the distance, he couldn't hear anything clearly. However, they were playing rock, paper, scissors. Huamin saw everything clearly. At that time, she almost burst out laughing. Her first reaction was to put down the scissors in the water and pick up her phone. Unfortunately, the two of them were too fast. By the time Huamin picked up his phone, the battle between the two had already ended. Suyu looked like he had nothing left to live for and was about to walk towards Rambo. Mr. Chin said faintly from behind, Suyu, stop driving. If we don't drive, shall we walk there? Suyu turned around and retorted to Chin-chu, who had tricked him just now. Don't you have prayer beads? Chin-chu pointed at the bead on Suyu's neck. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? Suyu touched the prayer beads on his neck and laughed foolishly. This was a nightmare, and the prayer beads that Master Wu gave him were still useful. However, Suyu really thought that this was the real world and forgot about the cheat function that allowed him to teleport. Because you're stupid, Mr. Chin replied casually. Suyu, Chin-chu, if I were a woman, I definitely wouldn't be with you. You're too good at insulting people. You're not gentle at all. Suyu gritted his teeth and retorted. Don't worry. If you were a woman, I wouldn't want you either. You're too good at spending money. I can't afford to raise you. Suyu. At this moment, if Huamin heard these words again, he would really burst out laughing. Chin-chu was such a serious person, but he couldn't stop joking. Moreover, he looked like an experienced driver. Suyu was taken aback by her words. Are you still going to the hospital? Of course. Come here and hold my hand, Suyu shouted impatiently. After all, he had to have physical contact with Chin-chu when he transmigrated. Chin-chu walked over, but he didn't hold Suyu's hand. He was afraid that it would be too intimate, so he only tugged at Suyu's sleeve. When Huamin saw this scene, he almost blurted out, "There's something going on." Chapter 4494. However, before Huamin could finish her sentence, the two men disappeared. At first, Huamin was surprised, but then she realized that Suyu must have used the prayer beads. After all, this was still a dream, so it was very convenient to go anywhere. What's wrong? Mian, what are you looking at? Zhu Lingling walked over and placed her hand on Huamin's shoulder. Huamin's shoulder felt a little warm from the warmth of his palm. Nothing. Can we eat hot pot now? Yes, pregnant woman. There's also your favorite seafood, shrimp and crab. I want to eat more, even if it's in a dream. Huamin was suddenly in a good mood. She took out her phone and sent a WeChat message to Chin-chu. After sending it, she immediately deleted it. This was because she did not know if there were any dream creators in this group of people. Therefore, it was better to keep some things private and not let others know. Chin-chu and Suyu arrived at the entrance of the first hospital in an instant. Originally, Suyu would go to whoever he thought of. Suyu knew Jishin, so he thought of him. However, when they arrived, they were only at the entrance of the first hospital. They were not in the ward and there was no trace of Jishin. Strange, how did this happen? This was the first time he had encountered such a situation, so Suyu was also confused. He thought that the prayer beads were broken. Who knew that there was something else going on? Before Chin-chu could speak to Suyu, he heard his phone ring. He took out his phone and looked at it. His expression didn't change. What's wrong? Mion sent me a WeChat message, Chin-chu said. Suyu was instantly nervous. What's wrong? Did something happen at home? No, Mion said that she found a trick that might be able to tell the difference between dream creators and us. So magical? What is it? Suyu had always known that Huamin was extremely smart. Therefore, it wasn't difficult for him to find a flaw in a short period of time and figure out the difference between dream creators and them. At least, Suyu believed that Huamin could do it even if others couldn't. Chin-chu looked down at his phone and repeated Huamin's message. She said that normal people's hands have warmth, but dream creators or fictional monsters have cold hands. Suyu didn't know what to say. Lingya's hand is like this. As for Ling, I've never touched her, so I won't comment, Qingchu said. Oh, I remember now. Layla is like this too. Does Jingda not know about it? He said. Later on he remembered his contact with Layla. Indeed, when he accidentally touched her, her hands were cold and had no warmth. Just now, when Zhu Lingling accidentally touched Huamin, Huamin felt the warmth of Zhu Lingling's palm and figured it out. However, Huamin added that this was just her personal opinion. As for whether it was right or not, he wasn't sure. For the time being, it wasn't the only way to recognize a dream creator. Let's go upstairs and look for Jixin first, Qingchu suggested. Okay. Then Qingchu and Suyu went upstairs and entered Bella's ward. It was unusually quiet outside the ward. Suyu pushed the door open and was about to enter when Qingchu stopped him. Then he handed the dagger to Suyu and reminded him, be careful. I feel like something's wrong. Chapter 4495. Suyu took the dagger, nodded and didn't say anything. Then Qingchu kicked open the door of the ward. However, everything in front of them stunned Suyu and Huamin. The ward was empty. There was not a single person in it. After looking around, they heard the sound of running water coming from the bathroom. Then the water stopped. The figure walked out. The two men held their breaths, ready to fight to the death. Unexpectedly, the person who came out was indeed Bella in a hospital gown. Perhaps because she had been lying in bed for too long, she didn't look good. President Qin. President Su, why are you here? After washing her hands, Bella walked out and was shocked to see the two men. Bella, when did you wake up? Today. Why didn't you tell me about such a big thing? Qingchu looked at Bella warily. Because I heard from Jixin that Sister Mian just came back safely, and there are still a lot of things to do at home. I thought I'd recover my strength first before telling you. The doctor said I'm fine and did a full body checkup for me. Bella smiled, looking as if she had been rejuvenated. Bella, where's Jixin? Qingchu asked. After all, Bella woke up. It was such a big thing and Jixin had to be with her. That was why Qingchu asked suspiciously. He went out. He just came downstairs. Didn't you see him? No, when did that happen? Suyu froze. Just now. He was acting weird today. When he left, he was wearing a baseball cap and a mask like a celebrity. Bella smiled. Qingchu and Suyu looked at each other as if they had a tacit understanding. What did he go out for? Qingchu asked. He said he was going to buy dinner for me. Maybe it's because I've been lying in bed for too long and my mouth doesn't have any taste. I keep wanting to drink something sour and spicy. Jixin said that there's an authentic sour and spicy noodle shop on the street above. So he went to pack it for me. Okay, let's go find him. Qingchu pulled Suyu out. Hey, President Qin. You can wait here. He'll be back soon. It's not far. No, I have something urgent to talk to Jixin about. Then Qingchu and Suyu left the ward and rushed downstairs. When they went downstairs, Suyu said, You think there's something wrong with Jixin, right? Yeah, Jixin knows all the people I sent. If I can't get in touch with them, Jixin must know what's going on. Plus, why would he wear a hat and mask when he went out to buy food? It's suspicious, Qingchu analyzed. Now that you mention it, I remember that when we came in there was someone wearing a cap and mask who brushed past us. Now that I think about it, when the rosary beads first sent us here, it went to Jixin's side. We overlooked it and didn't see him. That's why we thought there was something wrong with the rosary beads. Suyu finally understood why the rosary beads sent them to the hospital entrance and not the ward. Because at that moment Jixin was at the door. It was just that they didn't see him because he was armed. Why are you running? We have the rosary beads. This time he won't be able to run away. Suyu held Qingchu's shoulder and began to use the rosary beads at the corner of the corridor where there were few people. He hoped to find Jixin's location again. Then 3 seconds later, the two of them appeared on a shabby street. The man in front of them was wearing a cap and mask. Suyu was impatient. He went up and took the man down. Ouch, who is it? It hurts. The man turned around and Qingchu took off his mask. It was indeed Jixin. Hey brother-in-law. Brother Suyu, how did you know I was here? Jixin was very happy to see Qingchu. Chapter 4496. Suyu was about to make a move when he saw Chin-Chu give him a look. Therefore, Suyu decided to wait and see what Chin-Chu wanted. After all, Chin-Chu knew Jishin better. If Jishin was really a dream creator, Suyu believed that with his and Chin-Chu's strong consciousness, they could definitely kill the third dream creator if they worked together. Jishin, Suyu and I came to see you for something urgent, but you weren't at the hospital, so we came out. Yeah, I came to buy food for Bella. I had to wait in line for a long time, so I came out early. Then why are you wearing a mask and a hat when you're out to buy food? Suyu still didn't believe Jishin's words. This was indeed suspicious. Jishin wasn't a celebrity or a public figure. If he came out, he wouldn't have to be so dressed. It's Bella. After she woke up, she was always suspicious. I think she has some kind of paranoia. When she saw me going out alone, she said that she was worried that someone would follow me. After all, I'm an executive of GK now. I don't care, but in order to please my wife, I'll do whatever she says. Jishin was still smiling. However, Chin-Chu and Suyu's expressions changed drastically. What did you say? Did Bella ask you to do this? Suyu asked anxiously as he tugged at Jishin's collar. Ah, that's right. What's wrong, brother Suyu? Why do you and my brother-in-law have such expressions? Did I do something wrong? Jishin was dumbfounded. Suyu and Chin-Chu looked at each other. It was as if they knew what the other party was thinking. However, it was undeniable that the dream creator could also be acting. Perhaps he would pretend to be silly and frame Bella as a dream creator. Therefore, after 3 seconds of consideration, Chin-Chu asked Jishin another question to see how he would answer. From this, they could judge who was the real dream creator between Jishin and Bella. Jishin, where are the security guards I arranged for you at the hospital? Why can't I get in touch with him? Oh, that. Bella said it's useless. She's awake and about to be discharged, so she fired them all. It didn't seem like Jishin was lying. Chin-Chu looked into Jishin's eyes and didn't see any flaws. Fired? Chin-Chu frowned slightly. Yeah, I did. She's the boss now, so we'll do whatever she wants. Jishin still didn't understand his brother-in-law's feelings and was still smiling foolishly. Why didn't you tell me about such a big thing? Chin-Chu looked at Jishin seriously. This was the first time in years that he blamed his brother-in-law. Normally, Chin-Chu treated Jishin the same way he treated Huamin. He didn't treat Jishin like a brother-in-law at all. He treated Jishin like a younger brother. Even better than Qin-Ning. But this time, Chin-Chu obviously didn't recognize Jishin's stupid actions. It was a pity that he trusted this kid so much and even told him about the incubus. But he didn't learn at all and was still used by others. Jishin felt that the atmosphere wasn't right. He scratched his head and stammered, I actually wanted to tell you, but Bella just woke up and her emotions aren't very stable yet. He's hungry, thirsty, cold and hot. Also, she said that she won't tell you sis and my mom about waking up. She plans to give you guys a surprise when she's discharged tomorrow. Just as Jishin said this, Chin-Chu turned around. He reached out and grabbed Suyu's shoulder. Quick, let's go back to the hospital and find Bella. Suyu immediately understood what Chin-Chu was thinking and quickly activated the prayer beads. Chapter 4497. Jishin was indeed a fool. He was fooled by this fake Bella. She ordered him around to distract him and now Jishin was almost made to take the blame for her. Suyu and Chin-Chu didn't dare to imagine if they hadn't asked carefully and killed Jishin. Then Jishin, who had entered the dream in person, would have died in the dream. Then how would the two of them face Huamin in the future? The third dream creator could also be said to be Bella. Her methods were extremely vicious, and she hid it very well. As the third dream creator, she had pretended to be in a vegetative state for a long time. She had deceived everyone. Now that her identity was about to be exposed, she woke up and threw the blame to Jishin. Then Suyu activated the prayer beads again. This time his target was Bella's ward at the first hospital. Just like that, Jishin watched as the two grown men disappeared into thin air. Jishin was so scared that he forgot what he was going to buy and ran back as fast as he could. Suyu thought that he could just return to the ward, but to his surprise the ward was empty. The woman who was talking to them just now was nowhere to be seen. Suyu, quick, use your mind to track Bella. Chin-Chu knew that there was something wrong with Bella, so he definitely wouldn't let her run around. He was afraid that she would pose a threat to others, so he was very anxious. Suyu dragged Chinchu again and activated the prayer beads. However, he realized that no matter how hard he tried, he could not think of Bella. He could not condense a strong will. Seeing that something was wrong with Suyu, Chinchu immediately woke him up. What's wrong? I feel strange. Whenever I think of Bella, her face is blurry. I can't imagine what she looks like. How can this be? Chinchu was surprised. Suyu was also sweating from anxiety. I don't know either. Is it because you don't have a deep impression of Bella's appearance? What if I find a photo for you? Why don't you try again? Chinchu suggested. Suyu shook his head. Here's the situation, Chinchu. It's not that I don't remember Bella's appearance. What I do remember is that when I tried to gather my thoughts, it seemed to be blocked by something, so I couldn't use the power of the prayer beads. Do you think she knew that her identity was exposed, so she escaped and did something to my prayer beads? After all, we used the prayer beads in the hospital just now. If she was a dream creator, she would know about it. Suyu's reaction was also extremely fast as he analyzed the situation. Chinchu nodded. Before Chinchu could say anything, the entire hospital began to shake and tremble. It felt like an earthquake. Chinchu didn't understand this feeling, but Suyu was very familiar with it. This was a sign that the dream was about to collapse. Oh no, the hospital might be an illusion created by Bella. She's going to use it against us. Run. In the midst of the chaos, Suyu grabbed Chinchu's collar and ran out. Fortunately, the two of them reacted in time. When they ran out, the hospital had already collapsed. It was like watching the end of the world in the movie 2012. Chinchu was secretly glad that this was a dream. Therefore, he didn't have to worry about so many innocent lives being crushed to death in the hospital. He was afraid that in this huge hospital only he and Suyu were real people. Everyone else was just a figment of his imagination. Of course, Jishin still needed to be investigated. Was he in the dream or was he fictional? To determine this, he had to see if Jishin collapsed after killing Bella. Chinchu, what should we do now? Where can we find her? Suyu panted and was a little discouraged. This time they had alerted the enemy and let the dream creator escape. It was obviously very disadvantageous for them. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.